other. Let's be brutally honest for a moment. You're out here grinding. You wake up to an alarm you hate. You drag yourself through traffic, office politics, or back-breaking work, all so you can slowly, painfully build a life. Meanwhile, she posts a selfie and believes that alone should qualify her for a millionaire husband. That's the modern dating market. That's the delusion you're walking into. She brings the bare minimum: looks, an Instagram account, a good vibes only attitude, maybe a messy past, and zero accountability. Yet, she expects a man who's financially stable, emotionally grounded, high status, loyal, 6 foot, 6-figure, six-pack, and willing to risk everything on her unstable expectations. And here's the part most men never question. She doesn't think this is extreme. She thinks this is normal, because no one has ever told her otherwise. From the time she was a teenager, the world has whispered in her ear like a constant hypnosis. You are the prize. Never settle. You deserve a king, no matter what you bring to the table. Every like, every DM, every thirsty comment from desperate men around the world has reinforced one core belief: my mere existence is valuable enough to demand the best of men. No character development, no real sacrifice, no genuine humility, just existing. And in her mind, that should be enough to retire with a top 1% man. Meanwhile, you were raised on a completely different script. As a boy, you were told, work hard, be useful, become something. Your value has always been conditional. Hers has been treated as automatic. That's why so many men feel this deep, quiet rage, but don't have the words for it. You feel the imbalance every time a woman with debt, drama, and emotional chaos looks you in the eye and says, "I'm not settling for less than a man who earns this much." She's measuring your value by your salary, while you're too polite to even question what she actually offers beyond her presence. Listen carefully. The modern dating market is the only place where people think they can apply for a $1 million position with a 0-page resume. If you tried that in the real world, showing up to a company saying, "I have no skills, no qualifications, no track record, but I expect a CEO salary," they would laugh you out of the building. But in dating, men are too scared to laugh, too thirsty to walk away, too simp to say, "You're not qualified for what you're demanding." So the delusion grows, and your silence feeds it. This video is not about hating women. It's about finally putting language to what you've felt for years but couldn't quite articulate. Something is off. Something is unfair. The trade has become insane. We're going to dissect this insanity step by step, because if you don't understand how a woman can bring the bare minimum yet still expect a millionaire husband, you will keep volunteering for a contract where you do all the work and she cashes all the benefits. In the next section, we'll break down exactly how she was psychologically trained to believe this deal makes sense, and why so many men unknowingly validate it. Let's strip the sugar coating off. Women didn't just wake up one day and randomly decide, "I bring nothing but I deserve a millionaire." They were trained into that mindset by an entire ecosystem that benefits from their delusion and feeds on your validation. From the moment she was young, the messaging was relentless. Princess, queen, you're special just because you're you. No discipline, no demand for character, no pressure to improve. Just infinite emotional participation trophies. Meanwhile, as a boy, if you cried, you were told to man up. If you failed, no one comforted you with, "You're perfect as you are." You were either useful or invisible. Fast forward to adulthood. Now she has a smartphone, Instagram, TikTok, dating apps, OnlyFans, DMs from thirsty men on every continent. She posts one picture showing skin, and suddenly she has more male attention in 24 hours than most men get in years. That does something to the brain. Psychology calls it reinforcement. You and millions of other men are clicking like, heart-reacting, DMing, and fantasizing. What does that teach her? I must be exceptional. I'm clearly high value. I can set my standards as high as I want because look at the demand. But here's the twist. Attention is not the same as commitment. 1 million men would sleep with her. Very few would build a life with her. She confuses sexual demand with long-term value. And who taught her that confusion? Male attention with zero standards. Guys who will sleep with anything but then complain women are entitled. Men who pedestalize women they don't even know. You think you're harmless when you like every thirst trap. You're feeding the very delusion that later destroys you in relationships. Add to that, feminist slogans without responsibility. Never settle. Men should take you as you are. Any man who asks you to improve is controlling or toxic. So she gets coached into believing that any expectation placed on her is abuse. But any expectation she places on you is standards. She's told to chase the top man, tall, ripped, rich, emotionally intelligent, loyal, dominant but gentle, a warrior and a therapist in one body. Meanwhile, she's never been told, work on your femininity, heal your trauma, control your emotions, bring peace, not chaos, into a man's life. No one told her that, so she shows up with anxiety, entitlement, emotional instability, and 24/7 social media addiction, but expects a man who spent 20+ years building himself. And society applauds it. Podcasts with bitter women scream, if he doesn't make 6 figures, don't waste your time. Talk shows mock men who earn average incomes. Influencers tell women, make him spend, make him prove himself, make him chase. You know what almost no one tells her? Ask yourself if you are actually worth the kind of man you want. Because if she ever seriously asked that question, if she ever honestly looked in the mirror and compared her demands to her offerings, the whole fantasy market would collapse. And that market runs on one thing, your willingness as a man to keep playing along. In the next section, we'll break down exactly how you get baited into this game, how good men end up over-investing in women who bring the bare minimum, and why you keep ignoring red flags that are screaming at you from day one. Let's talk about you now, because the brutal truth is this. Her delusion only works because men fund it. You see the bare minimum, you see the red flags, you see the attitude, the entitlement, the phone full of male friends, and you still step up. You still over-invest. You still audition like you're the one being interviewed. Why? Because you've been psychologically trained to believe that female approval is your reward for existing. As a boy, no one praised you just for being alive. Love was conditional. You had to perform. You had to be useful. You had to fix things, be strong, stay quiet when you were hurting. Deep down, you still carry the belief, if I work hard enough, maybe someone will finally choose me. Enter the modern woman with her bare minimum. She doesn't offer stability. She doesn't offer peace. She doesn't offer loyalty that isn't negotiable. What she offers is attention, then gradual withdrawal. At first, she gives you a taste. She laughs at your jokes. She texts back fast. She calls you different from other guys. And your brain lights up. Dopamine spikes. You feel seen, desired, validated. Then suddenly, she pulls back. Slower replies. More busy, less enthusiasm. More pictures online, less investment in you. You don't know this, but she's just switched to test mode. Now she wants to see, how much will this man work for me? How far will he stretch himself? How desperate is he for my presence? Instead of pulling back yourself, you do the opposite. You text more. You offer more. You ask what's wrong. You try to fix what you didn't break. You start paying in effort, money, emotional energy, time, for a woman who is offering less and less. This is where you cross the line from man to customer. You are no longer relating to her as an equal human being. You're subconsciously begging for access to her. And here's the messed up part. She respects you less the more you do it. You think your effort proves your worth. In her eyes, your effort proves your scarcity. A man with options doesn't chase like that. A man who values himself doesn't negotiate with disrespect. Psychology calls this scarcity mindset. You believe she is rare, when in reality, women like this are everywhere. What's rare is a man who can say, "I'm not competing for a woman who brings the bare minimum." Next. But because modern men are starved for affection, porn-addicted, lonely, and overworked, you cling to any feminine attention like it's oxygen. You ignore her past because you're scared of being alone. You ignore her attitude because you don't want to start over. You ignore your own instincts, which whispered from day one, "She is not peaceful, she is not safe, she is not ready." You saw the chaos. You saw the Instagram addiction. You saw the way she talked about her exes, all of them toxic, none of them chosen by accident. And you still thought, if I just love her harder, she'll be different with me. Listen to this slowly. Women do not respect the men they can emotionally manipulate. They use them. They keep them as backups. They migrate to better options while you hold the emotional line for them. In the next section, we're going to expose the real cost of overpaying for bare minimum women, financially, emotionally, spiritually, and why staying with the wrong woman can sabotage years of your life more brutally than any recession ever could. Let's talk about damage now, because this isn't just about a few bad dates, or she was a bit ungrateful. When you overpay for a bare minimum woman, you don't just lose money, you lose years, you lose peace, you lose yourself. Modern men underestimate the cost of the wrong woman more than anything else in life. You'll obsess over crypto dips, housing prices, interest rates. But you won't calculate what it's costing you to fund a woman's delusion while your soul slowly bleeds out. Let's break it down. First, the financial cost. You start small, nice dinners, Uber rides, weekend getaways you can't really afford. Then the expectations rise. She wants soft life. She wants experiences. She wants a man who provides. Notice how that word is always aimed at you, never at her. Suddenly you're working overtime, not for your future, but to maintain her lifestyle. She's upgrading her image using your resources. Hair, nails, lashes, outfits, holidays, and every picture goes online like she created that life, not you. And if you ever dare to say, "Let's slow down, I'm trying to save," you're now stingy, not ambitious, or not man enough. A woman who brings the bare minimum financially will always push you to spend maximum, because your money is the only proof to her ego that she's winning. But that's just the surface. The deeper cost is psychological. You don't see it at first, but slowly your nervous system gets hijacked. You wake up checking your phone. Is she upset? Is she distant? Who liked her latest picture? Your brain is constantly running background programs. Did I do enough? Is she losing interest? Is there another guy? You're not at peace. You're on emotional surveillance duty. You're supposed to be building your life, but your mind is now a full-time security guard for her validation. You start second-guessing yourself. You lower your voice to avoid arguments. You walk on eggshells around her moods. This is how strong men become small. You used to dream big. Now you just dream of keeping her happy. You used to be focused on your mission. Now your mission is not upsetting a woman who doesn't respect you. And then there's the spiritual cost, the cost to your identity. Every time you tolerate disrespect, you send a message to yourself. I am the kind of man who accepts this. You abandon your standards. You betray your own boundaries. You sacrifice your peace to avoid being alone. Over time, that changes how you see yourself. You stop believing you deserve better. You stop trusting your gut. You stop listening to that inner voice that knows this woman is not your ally. Understand this. A bad woman can delay your life by 5, 10, even 15 years. Those are years you could have spent stacking money, building skills, strengthening your body, deepening your mind, finding a woman who actually brings peace, loyalty, and support. Instead, you spent them funding holidays, handbags, and emotional chaos for someone who would replace you the moment a richer man looks her way. The world is full of men paying alimony, child support, and emotional reparations for relationships they never should have entered in the first place. That's the real price of ignoring red flags and overvaluing bare minimum. In the next section, we're going to flip this entire script, and I'll show you exactly how to rewire your standards, protect your energy, and evaluate women the way you've been evaluated your entire life. Now we flip it. Up until now, you've been taught to think like an applicant. You show up like you're at a job interview. Am I good enough? Am I impressive enough? Will she choose me? That mindset is exactly why you overpay for women who bring the bare minimum. You were never taught to be the interviewer. You were never taught to ask, is she good enough for the life I'm building? Is she qualified for the position of wife, partner, or mother to my children? Does she bring enough to justify what she's demanding from me? In the modern world, you must start thinking like this, because here's the uncomfortable truth. Society already evaluates you this way. Your income, your status, your height, your ambition, your confidence. Everything about you gets put under a microscope. But the moment you dare to evaluate a woman beyond looks and vibes, you're labeled toxic, misogynist, or controlling. Ignore that noise. You are allowed to have standards, so let's make this practical. Next time you meet a woman who wants a millionaire lifestyle, ask yourself, does she bring peace or drama? Does she add stability or ADD chaos? Does she respect men, or does she speak about them with bitterness and entitlement? Does she have control over her emotions, or do her feelings control every room she walks into? Look past the makeup and the filters and pay attention to patterns. What's her relationship history? Is it a trail of all my exes were narcissists? Or is there clear evidence of her poor choices, poor boundaries, poor self-awareness? What's her relationship with responsibility? Does she blame everyone else for her life? Or does she take ownership? How does she treat waiters, staff, strangers? Because how she treats people she doesn't need is how she'll eventually treat you once she feels secure. Does she talk more about deserving than contributing? More about standards than reciprocity? A bare minimum woman will always speak the language of entitlement. A high-value woman speaks the language of partnership. You're not just evaluating her words, you're evaluating her habits. Is she addicted to validation? Does she constantly need likes, comments, attention to feel alive? Is her phone practically welded to her hand? You cannot build a peaceful life with someone whose ego is permanently plugged into the internet. You must also rewire how you respond to beauty. A pretty face is not a qualification. A nice body is not a resume. Beauty is an invitation to look deeper, not a reason to ignore everything else. Start moving like a man with options, even if you don't fully feel like one yet. That means you don't chase when she pulls away without cause. You don't beg for clarity. You don't audition to be chosen. You quietly observe. You see the misalignment, and you walk, not in anger, in self-respect. The moment you enforce those standards, the entire dating dynamic changes. You'll notice how quickly bare minimum women lose interest when they realize you won't overpay. You'll also notice something else. Peaceful, grounded, feminine women become more visible because you're no longer hypnotized by chaos. In the final section, we're going to bring this all together, and I'll give you a direct challenge, a mental reset that could save you years of pain, protect your future, and help you finally choose women who are truly worth what you're building. Let's land this plane, because this isn't just another dating rant. This is about your life trajectory. You only get one shot at your 20s, your 30s, your 40s. You only get one body, one nervous system, one mind to carry you through this world. You cannot afford to waste it on a woman who brings the bare minimum and expects a millionaire husband. Look around at the modern world. You see women with standards that reach the clouds and self-awareness that never leaves the ground. You see women demanding traditional men while rejecting traditional womanhood. They want your protection, but not your leadership, your money, but not your guidance, your commitment, but not your boundaries, your loyalty, while they keep options in their phone. They want the finished product of a man who's spent years bleeding, grinding, failing, rebuilding, learning, and in exchange they offer vibes, aesthetic, occasional intimacy, and a constant non-stop test of whether you're doing enough. That is not a relationship, that is a subscription, and you're paying monthly with your sanity. So here's the hard truth. You can't change them. You can't fix the culture. You can't argue entitlement out of someone who is benefiting from it. What you can do is opt out. You can stop auditioning. You can stop apologizing for having standards. You can stop funding the lifestyles of women who would leave you in a heartbeat if a better offer came along. You have two paths in front of you. Path one, you stay asleep. You keep chasing bare minimum women because they're pretty and exciting. You ignore red flags. You waste years. You lose money. You lose peace. You become bitter, broken, and exhausted, wondering why love never works out for you. Path two, you wake up. You pull your attention back. You choose your future over your loneliness. You set standards. You stop being impressed by bare skin and start being impressed by rare character. You become the man who says, I don't care how pretty you are. If you don't bring peace, femininity, loyalty, and respect, you cannot sit at my table. Because here's the deepest truth, brother. A woman does not complete your life. She either complements it or complicates it. You are not here to be a walking ATM. You are not here to be a free therapist. You are not here to be a background character in her social media highlight reel. You are here to build something real, a life, a mission, a legacy. And only a woman who respects that mission deserves access to the man you're becoming. So ask yourself, how many years am I willing to sacrifice to women who don't respect my effort? How many paychecks am I willing to throw into proving my worth to someone who brings almost nothing to the table? How much longer will I ignore the voice inside that knows I deserve better? If this video hits something deep in you, that's not an accident. That's your instincts waking back up. So here's your call to action. Don't just watch this and move on. Pause, reflect, look at your current situation, look at your past relationships. Where have you overpaid? Where have you ignored disrespect? Where have you confused her beauty for her value? And if you know a man, a brother, a friend, a co-worker who is currently funding the bare minimum but expects a millionaire fantasy, send this video to him. He might hate you for it today, but he'll thank you for it in 5 years. If this message resonated, if you felt seen, if you felt like, finally, someone said what I've been feeling all along, then do 3 things for me, and more importantly, for yourself. Drop a comment and tell the truth you wish you knew 10 years ago. Share this with a brother who's slowly losing himself in the wrong woman. Subscribe and support the mission. Use the link in the description below to help this message reach more men who desperately need to wake up. You are not crazy. You are not asking for too much. You've just been taught to accept far too little. Protect your peace, guard your future, and never again drop your standards to a bare minimum woman.